to another episode of the Dental Student Vibes podcast. I'm your host, Seth Kalish. I'm here today with Matt Havis, and we have a very special guest on today, Michelle Money Felden. How are you today, Michelle?
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
So, Michelle, we've known each other for what? A year and a half? I guess almost a year and a half exactly now.
Yeah, almost 2 years.
So Michelle is in our dental school class. And Michelle, where did we first meet? I can't even remember. Might have just been the first day of school or something.
Yeah, probably was first day of school.
Did you go on that canoe trip?
I did.
Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like so in one of our past episodes we talked about how to meet people before you start dental school. So that's what we did. We had a lot of people that met up, talked over the Facebook group. People would post on the dental school Facebook group, and they say, hey, let's all meet up. Let's go kayaking, canoeing. And that's what they did. So it's a good way to meet people before you start dental school. So a little digression, but that's okay.
Let's keep going.
Today, we're talking about how to create goals, how to create vision, and your New Year's resolution. So, Matt, why don't we start out? What is your number one goal for this year?
I want to say passports, but I'm just going to say stop nail biting.
Stop nail biting.
Because it's so hard. Because naturally, you'll just be in class, driving, living, doing anything, and then your hand kind of migrates up and you just start nibbling a little. So it's actually really hard to stop. I have to make a conscious effort to like not do it. And if you stress, obviously, anyone that nail bites, if you stress, usually you just start a little. So, and being in dental school, we're always stressing, so you're always biting. So
always stressing, always biting. All right.
So, I mean, that's probably one of the harder goals for me to, tackle this year. But I would say we broke down our goals into different, areas, so to make things easier.
Right. I mean, I like that. That's good. That's good. Before we get into how we break everything down, Michelle, what are some of your goals for this year?
So my top 2 goals for this year, obviously, is to pass boards on the first try. It's definitely a big one. My second goal is to have a better life-school balance. And we'll talk about the actual breakdown of the plan later, but those are definitely my top 2 goals, very important things that need to get done this year.
All right, so why don't we break it down for our listeners how to make some excellent goals. So I think just like the general rule is I want to do or have this much by this time. So usually like you have like a set quantity and then you have a set time. So like either the set time could be like it could be a singular event or it could be like recurring, right? So let's say, for example, we want to pass boards. So you can make your singular goal. You could be, I'm going to pass boards on this date, March 1st, whatever. Or it could be, I'm going to study 5 hours a day every day or like 3 days a week for 6 weeks. So there you're entering your quantity, like the number of hours per day, and you have your time frame 6 weeks.
What you can also do is like chunk it up and break down that goal into smaller goals. And so, you had that big overwhelming goal, but then you can check in with yourself after 4 weeks and say, hey, is this plan working? Am I feeling like I'm going to succeed in this plan, or do I need to make some changes? So I feel like if you check in with yourself a couple times over the whole course of your main goal, that probably will help you succeed better too.
Definitely. I like that. Exactly. Breaking things down, that makes it easier. That's like the thing. If you try and eat an elephant, you got to start with one bite at a time, right? Mm-hmm. You can't just swallow the whole thing. Picture that in your head.
I'm just imagining like a snake with a huge elephant, like a big blob.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So snakes don't set goals. They just swallow their prey whole. Anyways. So we've kind of broken things down a little bit into categories for goals. So we adopted this from Dr. Mark Costas, who does the Dentalpreneur podcast, and he calls this the 4 futures. And I really like it because it's like, it makes a lot of sense. And I like how he structures it in importance. Have you ever heard of that, Michelle?
I haven't.
No? Okay. So we'll explain it to you. So he breaks it down into the 4 futures. So he calls it mindset, meaning, movement or muscle, and then money. And it's in that order. And I like that he always says that it's in that order, because if you don't have the first 3, you're not going to have your money situation is not going to be right either. So mindset means how do you practice your mindfulness practices, or do you even practice mindfulness at all? So have you ever done any of that? Have you tried like meditation? You do yoga.
Yeah, I do yoga. I also have tried meditation. Meditation is one of those things where, I don't know, it either works for you or it doesn't, It's good, but what I like to do more so is just kind of take a little bit of time and just check in with myself, kind of like I said before, just see how you're feeling, what your needs are. Do you feel like you need to spend more time with people? Do you need to spend more time with yourself? Just kind of check in and see where you're at. Can pretty much help with that.
Yeah. How often do you do yoga?
I try to stretch out a little bit, probably a couple times a week. I haven't really been going to classes a lot since I've been getting into lifting.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
But, one of my other goals is to get back into doing the yoga classes. There's a really great one every Sunday morning, so might get back into that too.
Where do you go?
Like I go to the YMCA.
The YMCA. So like I've never even been to a yoga class. How does it work?
It's great. The one at the Y actually is a yoga flow. So they incorporate a little bit of Tai Chi and meditation at the end. So you start off with some Tai Chi. They don't really explain to you kind of the meaning behind that. So you could always like research it before, so you can get a little bit more out of it. Basically, you're kind of taking energy and moving energy, and then you go into more of the yoga poses. What's your favorite pose? I don't know.
What's the hardest pose?
Is it something like lotus or something like that? Or flying grasshopper?
I don't know what the names are. I'm really bad at that because they don't announce like, okay, we're going to go into, whatever. You just kind of follow what they're doing. But definitely the ones where you're on the ground and you try to like lift your body up and like you're only on your hands. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well, but you put your knees on top of the backs of your arms and you're leaning forward and you're just supporting yourself with your hands.
That sounds crazy.
It's hard to do, and so it's really fun when you finally like get it done, and you make improvements. That's why it's all about consistency. Like keep going, keep trying. That's really fun. But yeah, at the end of our class, they do actually a 10-minute meditation session where they play like calming music. Sometimes the instructor will talk and say, calm yourself down, like don't think about what's going on in your life right now, just be present in the moment. That's a really nice class, and I definitely suggest checking it out if you guys have a YMCA near you. They typically all run the same kind of classes. So right,
that's good. I mean, and that kind of hits like 2 of them at the same time: mindfulness and movement, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the mindset, the mindfulness practices. And then the next one that Dr. Costas, by the way, Dr. Costas was on our podcast a little while ago. Mm-hmm. So be sure to check out that podcast. We just shot off questions to him, like just question after question, because, we just had a ton of questions for him because he's a smart guy.
Brilliant.
But anyways, next is meaning. So meaning, AKA what gives meaning to your life. And to a lot of people, that's relationships. Mm-hmm. And I think, two of the things that I really appreciate and that I look for in my life that gives me happiness is A, relationships, and B, like personal growth. So relationships. So how could you, Matt, what do you think are like some ways that you can improve your relationships?
So when I made my goals using this system, I feel like it helps you be more dynamic, because if your meaning is only one thing, you should probably find some more things to have more meaning. Right. If that makes sense. So if your meaning is only like, okay, I gotta, impress my friends and we gotta go out and spend quality time together, maybe look at like meaning in terms of relationships with family as well. If you're hanging out with your friends constantly, maybe go spend some time with your dad or your mom.
That's
or
a good
it could
point.
be like maybe you have to look at your own relationship, with your spouse, significant other, whoever. Maybe you need to spend more quality time with them, be more attentive and more present. Don't play on your phone or whatever. Develop that
Don't play on your phone.
Develop that relationship. I mean, I also looked at that as well when looking at meaning, because I understand like we're all in school, so like people have meaning. Like, oh, it's meaningful to me to get straight A's, but that's not everything. You know, you need to have a balance in life. You know,
Right.
relationships, school, whatever. So see what makes meaning relationship wise. I think things to do is a big one in today's day and age is put your phone down. Go to dinner and then set your phone down. Don't keep it on your pocket. Don't keep it on your lap. You know, turn the brightness down. Put on do not disturb, and then be present with the people that are there. Have real conversation.
I think that's a great goal to have. And it's basically like a habit, right? You're just starting a new habit, and what is a goal? It's like creating a habit, right?
Exactly.
Kind of at the same time, but that's how you can improve your relationship. Is putting your relationships with people, just putting your phone away when you're talking to them, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's meaning, aka relationships. Now, Michelle, you brought this up earlier. You're into lifting now, so our third goal or goal category in the 4 futures is movement, aka muscle. So tell me about how you're going to try and change in 2020 with regards to movement and muscle.
So my sister is actually getting married, and my goal is to look really great in my bridesmaid's dress. So I have a lot of motivation there to strengthen my body and have tone up some definition in my back, especially. And this also correlates to dentistry a little bit. I want to be stronger in general, just so that when I'm doing extractions and other like lengthy procedures, that I have the strength and endurance to get through them.
That's great. And like what you just said, for your sister's wedding, it's like that's your date, like that's your goal date, right? So there you go. So you've already set up your goal date, and have you thought about like how you're gonna break it down?
I don't have any specific breakdown, just because I go off of what my trainer says.
There you go. I mean, that's not a bad idea.
Who's your trainer?
My trainer is my really good friend, Jeremy, who's also in school with us. So I just show up and do what he says we're doing. So
Shout out Jeremy Kasich. All right. So let's talk about the last one, money. So I think obviously all of us can do better with our spending habits and all of that sort of stuff, right? I know, sometimes we go out and spend too much money, aka all the time when we go out.
Friday.
But so obviously a lot of people have, I feel like the two biggest goals are A, like get in shape, and B, stop spending so much money or like make a budget, right?
yeah.
So have you guys, when's the last time you made a budget?
I don't really make budgets because I have no money, so I just say I buy the necessities, and then if I don't need it, should I buy it? I mean, granted, sometimes you have to, indulge a little, but I really try not to.
Well, you indulge a lot.
Indulging is all relative, so maybe I consider my indulgence a little, but no, my goal definitely is I need to stop. So and it comes full circle. So one of my things is like a meal prep. So if you're meal prepping, you're spending less money on food by not going out, since you already have meals, set up for yourself. I mean, I won't get too much into my goals now, but that's a one way to save money, because I spend lots of money eating out.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm not a big spender, but food is definitely the number one thing that I spend money on. So cooking at home more, I feel like that's a really great goal that a lot of people have. Look into different like crock pot meals if you have one. Definitely try to cut down on the restaurant spending.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm also trying to be more conscientious with things. So I like going to the movies. I love seeing movies and stuff like that. So Seth will tell you every week I'm like, we got to see this movie, and he doesn't like going to the movies and spending the money, which I applaud him for because it prevents me from doing it. But if you're gonna go and we compromise, one good thing is if they have like a movie day, like a special, like we at our local theater we have it's like a $5 ticket on Tuesdays. So rather than going on a Friday for whatever $12, we'll save that extra money by going on Tuesday if we were to go. So I mean, those are all things you can do to be more mindful, because that extra money adds up. It buys more food, whatever, rent. So those are also big things to do if you have to spend the money.
Right. So we've broken it down: mindset, meaning, muscle, and money. right? So I think those are 4 good categories. So first you kind of focus on yourself with mindset, then you focus on your relationship with others with meaning, and then I guess you kind of go back to focusing on yourself with exercise, and then of course money last. So money could also be like, it could be like setting up for your future. So besides the budget, like, do you have everything going to different accounts properly? Like, are you contributing to your 401k, HSA, all that stuff? But we'll talk about that later. Also, are you giving donations? Are you contributing to a charitable account? So anything like that. So, okay, so those are just general categories of goals. I feel like a lot of people either just focus on, like I said, exercise and budgets, but let's talk about how do you keep your goals. So first of all, I think the number one thing is, write your goals out. And as we said earlier, put it in that format of, I want this much by this time. So, and then that will really like make your goals concrete. And then I think the other thing that will really help accelerate your progress towards your goals is if you tell it to other people, right?
Accountability.
Right. So what are some other ways you guys think will really help you stick to your goals?
Michelle, after you.
I was going to say being realistic in what your goals are. And for me, I really feel like I set some pretty high goals, and then I end up not completing them because I get too overwhelmed, I get too behind on my schedule and say, well, it's already out the door, I'm already behind, so might as well just stop. So to prevent that, you can just make sure you're checking in with yourself and setting smaller goals to then reach your bigger goal. And also build in some catch-up time in your schedule and whatever your goal is.
That's a great idea, yeah.
Because inevitably you fall behind on things, life happens, things come up, school gets hard, finals week, midterm, whatever it may be. So definitely set in some catch-up time, whether it's one day a week, like if it's your Saturday mornings, you're just going to use that time to catch up on all the things from the week that you didn't get to. That way that you're just not overwhelmed in your whole goal and you're kind of on track.
Right. You brought up some great points, Michelle. So catch-up time, I've never even thought of that. That's a fantastic idea. So what would you say, like maybe like the last couple days of the month or something? Is that how you would do it?
I'm more of a weekly person just because I can go day by day. I write out a schedule every single day for all the many things that I want to get done in the day, and say I don't get to the last 3 things on my list. Well, what am I going to do? Am I just going to like completely cut them out? Am I going to catch up on them later? How important are those items to me? So I'll usually take the weekend to kind of, fit those things in if they need to be fit in. So yeah, I'm more of a weekly person,
right.
But you can definitely do it, like you said, at the end of the month.
I know I like weekly better. Yeah, that's good. And then of course, I feel like putting smaller goals, it kind of, if you can like just check a box, and because Matt, that's what we've got when we're putting stuff together for the podcast, and just for studying and stuff in general, we've got like a shared notes list on the iPhone. And it's got like these check boxes, and when we're just trying to get tasks done, it feels good click the checkbox. Okay, yes, we did this, we did that.
Absolutely.
So I think when you get these small goals done, like Michelle was saying, it's kind of like a law of this is what we're going to call it. We're going to call it Michelle's law of goal acceleration, of just accomplishing these smaller goals, and then you eventually just get to your final goal, and it kind of motivates you to keep going and not give up halfway through.
Definitely.
So you say you write stuff out in a planner?
I actually just write it down on any kind of scrap paper that I have, and I just keep it with me. Or sometimes I'll write it down on my phone. What's great about I have the Apple phone, and in the little notes tab, you can now add little checkbox marks and click them as you go. So
yes, okay. So you do the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So Matt, where do you write all your stuff down?
I'll do reminders in my phone. Typically, we do those shared notes lists. That's a big one because I really like the accountability. Because sometimes if you write it down, you're like, "Oh, I'll do it." You don't always get to it. But if you have somebody who's there and can hold you accountable, it'll probably get done. For instance, Seth and I go to the gym. During finals, whatever it may be, hectic weeks, one of us is always saying, let's go to the gym, and causing the other person to go if they didn't want to go. So, I related from that. It's all about other stuff too. Getting up early. Seth and I used to get up. We'd go to Starbucks early in the morning, and we'd open the place at 6 o'clock. One of us probably didn't get the best night's sleep, but by the other one harassing them, texting them, FaceTiming, at 5:45, we probably both showed up at that day. But if we had a bad night's sleep and we didn't go, and we were alone, we probably wouldn't end up going. We'd sleep in. So it all depends. Be accountable. Find someone that you can, share these goals with if you have similar goals, and take the initiative to get them done.
Right. Yeah. I think one of the most important things is, of course, accountability, as you're saying, to get your stuff done. Mm-hmm. So why don't we talk about why it's okay if you make a mistake, so and you don't stick to your goals. So I'll give you a perfect example. We started off 2020. We got our meal prep and all that stuff all figured out. And you know what we did last night? We ate, well, actually, I was with Anthony, but then Matt and Michelle showed up at our place, and they brought over cheesecake from Cheesecake Factory, and wow, what an amazing...
what a pleasant surprise.
Pleasant surprise. Great gift from these guys. So thank you guys, but also thank you for ruining my diet. No, I'm just kidding.
But, we also had to enjoy ourselves. It was the start of 2020. Haven't seen the boys in 2 weeks. We're all on break. We all go home. And you come back, we enjoyed ourselves, and we were dieting. We went to the gym, but then it's also a balance. We're also human. Indulge a little and just keep working. You can't be robots. You're going to eventually break.
If you fall off the horse, just get back on. It's not the end of the world. If you have a cheat day, that's what they're for. You're going to drive yourself insane if you don't. So don't stop just because you had one fault. Keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you know what? It's we're a little bit into January right now. It's not January 1st, but even if you haven't written out your goals or even stuck to your goals, you can still keep going. Write out your goals now after listening to the podcast. You kind of understand the format to write down your goals and share it with somebody else, and you'll be on your way.
And if you think of it like this, most people don't even create goals. So even just by making goals, you're already ahead of a lot of people. So take the next step and then keep yourself accountable. Make somebody else keep you accountable if you don't think you have the willpower to complete all your goals. Make manageable goals. All these little things can be done. And you don't have to set these big goals like you're going to campaign for the new election and you're going to go to dental school and then you're just going to apply to be an astronaut at the same time. It's 2020. It's 1 year. Just make realistic goals as well. Challenge yourself, but don't do things that are just completely so far-fetched. Don't say I'm going to play video games for 90 hours a week and then study and expect straight A's. Some people could do it, but, do your priorities.
Are you one of those people?
I'm not.
You might be.
I don't play 90 hours a week.
On your phone and on the Xbox?
I try to keep... over break I didn't adhere to my rule, but I try to keep my screen time under 3 hours a day. And that's... and I'm talking about being between productivity and then, being unproductive. Because obviously sometimes I play games on my phone. I'm a big Clash of Clans guy. I play Clash Royale. So if anyone wants to play, you could DM us your username. We'll play with you guys. But no, so I try to play. I use my phone for anywhere less than 3 hours or less. So that could be another goal. Over the break, obviously, I didn't. I was relaxing, but that could be a goal as well for someone.
Right. And I just want to bring it back to a time frame for a second. So when you're setting the time frame for your goals, and we're also talking about breaking it down into smaller goals, maybe it's best to have your goals for the day and have 3 goals. Don't make it 10 goals. Make it 3 goals for the day, prioritized, numbered 1, 2, 3. These are the 3 things I'm completing today, and make it 3 work-related goals. So for us, that would be study for a certain number of hours and complete this paper, something like that.
And go to the gym.
Right. And then also have 3 personal goals. Yeah. So the 3 work goals would be our school, but then the 3 personal goals, one of them would be go to the gym and complete these exercises with like a 5% increase in our total weight lifted, something like that. But 3 goals of work, 3 goals of personal. That's it for the day. You don't need to do anything else than that. And then you could set that for daily, your goals for the week, and then goals for the year. And then you could even do 5-year. And that's when you start talking about vision. You know, like what's your vision? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? All that sort of stuff. But I hope you guys got some good quality information, some tips, how we set our goals, how Michelle sets her goals, how Matt sets his goals. He's trying to get up to like level 99 this year in Clash of Clans, something like that.
I'm on level 120.
Oh, okay, sorry. I do not know.
Done there.
I don't know anything about that stuff. But thank you guys for listening as always. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or your podcast platform. We always read your feedback, and it helps us out a ton. And you can reach us on Instagram at dental.student.vibes. You can email us any questions you guys have on at dentalstudentvibes@gmail.com.
Message us, I'm sorry to interrupt, message us some of your goals as well. Let's see what you guys have to think about, what you could improve on, and what you want to accomplish this year.
Absolutely. That's a fantastic idea, Matt. And then we also started a Go Fund Me to support the podcast for all of the maintenance fees and stuff we have to pay for. So you can click on the link in the podcast description. So as always, thank you guys for listening, and until next time.